You go either live in love or fear. So
Yeah,
I'm choosing
exactly.
love. So if I live my whole life in love and not in fear and get rid of disempowering thoughts, one of the things I had to learn is how am I going to show up every day in the world?
Hmm. Hmm.
Who's Ben Reinberg really going to be? Is he going to be that complete ass who lives in fear? Or is
Hmm.
he a man that steps up and empowers people, inspires people, and acts from love?
Hmm.
And that's what I chose the latter, to live in love. But for a long time, I was younger. I was fearful. I mean, I was worried about a lot of things, and I didn't have the confidence I do nearly today. And I had to grow into that person and learn. And just if you're young out there and you're feeling insecure or not confident, just work on yourself and be able to step into that story that you want to create. And when you can create the happiness within, everything else will change for you.
This is the Real Estate Wife Show, and I'm your host, Vinky Loomba, commercial real estate investor. And today, my good friend Ben Reinberg is with me. Welcome, Ben, to my show.
Thanks, Miki. It's great to see you and really grateful for you having me on today. I appreciate it.
Of course, it's always a pleasure to have you. And this is the second time Ben is with us to share wealth building, commercial real estate investing, self-improvement, and leadership insights and knowledge with audience around the world. And today our topic is very relevant that goes along with your bio, mindset and commercial real estate. So can you please share briefly with me your background? How did you get started in real estate? What mindset you had to begin with?
That's a great question. And when I was a young man, I was a CPA, and I graduated college, and we're a deep recession, and had to get a job. But my spirit inside of me always knew I was an entrepreneur. And at the end of the day, I started Alliance when I was a young man, and did my first deal when I was 24, and been rolling ever since. And just, it was just, there wasn't the internet, Vinky, like there is today. There wasn't the knowledge or the inspiration or the mentors or the gurus out there. You had to really figure it out yourself. And that's what I did. I would rely on other people and ask questions, but I felt that people weren't really forthright or open with me when it came to commercial real estate. So
Mhm.
I was looking to start a business. I was looking to build wealth.
Mhm.
And I happened to stumble upon a book that Sharon Lechter wrote called Rich Dad, Poor Dad with Robert
Mhm.
Kiyosaki. And I read it when I was younger. And
Mhm.
I said, man, this is really interesting.
Mhm.
Assets with cash flow. And I took a step back and said, okay, well, that's commercial real estate to me. And found my niche. I'm an office, industrial, and retail expert, as you know. And the last 17 years out of my 28 plus year career, we've been buying and managing medical properties throughout the United States, which we just launched a brand new fund that anyone's interested in investing in, they can. It's one of the best funds on the market. The human body's never going out of style. And so to get back to when I was younger about mindset was everything,
Mhm.
because there was no internet, there was no promoting about mindset, the mind and body connection. There was no
Mhm.
mentors to go to learn about this. So you had to believe in yourself. You had to convince yourself or sell yourself back then that I can do this. I could start a business. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to grind as hard as I can to figure it out. And so I would read a lot. I would do research. And I happened to bump into a guy who was a former client of the accounting firm I was working at. And he gave me some guidance, and he said, just do your first deal. Do your first deal. You'll figure it out. Just get in the water. And ever since, I've always been getting in the water, and I'm always looking to challenge myself. And mindset's everything when it comes to business, and especially in our industry, commercial real estate. There's no bigger test of your mind than when you hear a lot of no's when you're looking at deals, or your acquisition staff is out there hunting for deals. and you look at a lot of deals and you hear a lot of no's, or you don't come to terms, or you can't agree to price, or whatever might be the issue. So how do you deal with all the rejection in business? Well, you have to have a good mindset. You got to be able to control your emotions and have confidence that you're going to find the assets you want and you deserve. You're going to be able to capitalize them, and you're going to be able to manage them. And it's a challenging business. It's a sophisticated person's business that we're in. But at the end of the day, if you can control your mind and your emotions, you could do anything. And it doesn't have to be our business. It could be any business. And I find that when I control my emotions and my mind, Vinky, my relationships get better too, and deeper, and they more meaningful. And when you can do that, you can shorten the path because you develop these deeper relationships. And guess what? Ben Reinberg becomes the first person that you call when you have a deal that fits our box, our criteria. And that's how life works. It's how you treat people. And that's part of your mindset. And
I know. I love it. Oh my God. You threw at me so many golden nuggets, and I have so many follow-up questions now.
let me throw another nugget to you, which I think is really cool that someone taught me a while ago. Is all of us out there in the ether, okay, all of us, including me, and for years we were out on a mission to seek happiness. I want to change my environment so I can be happy. And what I noticed, Mickey, is the spiritual side of me really learned and said, if I'm happy, my environment will change. I want to repeat that again. For all you folks out there that are listening, if you create happiness for yourself, your environment will change. Don't expect your environment to change for you to be happy. Don't expect people to change to be happy. The only one you can control is yourself. So if you can control your emotions and your happiness and your thoughts, you have the world at your feet, because you can live the life you want, that authentic life, to be your real self, to be comfortable in your own skin. I hear that a lot from people, is that I'm just not comfortable in my own skin. I'm not happy. And they need to find happiness in their life for themselves. And then they'll realize their whole world will change. It's a difficult concept to grasp, to understand how to find happiness for yourself, but it's why, Vinky, I work on myself every single day. It's so important to me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start right from here where you ended. Happiness is a really, really good concept, and like you said, it's very hard to grasp. At the same time, we are living for happiness, right? What is life all about? There's only three things in life: happiness, peace, and satisfaction. I mean, at least from my perspective, you do not
I
need
look at it two ways. Yeah, I'll look at it two ways. You go either live in love or fear. So
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
love. So if I live my whole life in love and not in fear, and get rid of disempowering thoughts, not gossiping about myself or anyone, and living that state of love, your communication to others, the way you represent yourself. One of the things I had to learn is, how am I going to show up every day in the world? Who's Ben Reinberg really going to be? Is he going to be that complete ass who lives in fear? Or is he a man that steps up and empowers people, inspires people, and acts from love? And that's what I chose, the latter, to live in love. But for a long time, I was younger, I was fearful. I mean, I was worried about a lot of things, and I didn't have the confidence I do nearly today. And I had to grow into that person and learn. And just, if you're young out there and you're feeling insecure or not confident, just work on yourself and be able to step into that story that you want to create. And when you can create the happiness within, everything else will change for you.
That's true. I agree on that 100%. And I will correct myself. The three things are love, peace, and happiness. So these are the only three things that matter in life. So if you become love, you pretty much have everything, because then you come from a place of fulfillment. You are not always chasing things. You are at a kind of place of contentment, and then like a magnet. So you are attracting things towards you. And that's what Ben is, right? Ben has created that world for himself. So Ben, I'm going to ask you a question here. You said happiness is a concept hard to grasp. And then in the other note, you said, just be happy all the time. how can somebody be happy all the time if they have million, jillion thoughts are going and then 90% of the thoughts are negative, or maybe 99% of the thoughts are negative?
They won't be happy all the time. It's impossible to be happy all the time. But how you manage your thoughts is so important. So, for example, with thousands of thoughts going through our head every single minute, and it's the story that you tell yourself frequently. Am I good enough? Do I deserve this? How do I inspire others? There's so many different thoughts that go through your head and a lot of people, including me, I'm just as guilty, criticize themselves. They put themselves down. They'd say, I'm not good enough, or, what are you doing? Or what a stupid move. And we say these things to ourselves. And then what ends up happening is it transpires and comes out of us into the real world. And so when I say control your thoughts, you're never going to be happy all the time. But if you can control your thoughts and emotions and try to live in a state of love as much as possible, you will find that happiness and fulfillment. That's where you're going to find the happiness and fulfillment. So there's no such thing as, you're just going to define yourself as happy. No. But if you live in a state of love and you change your mindset, you'll realize you will be more happy and fulfilled in life. And the other thing is, to add to that, Vinky, is living in the moment. When I was younger, I was always worried about the future or worried about what people thought of me. I was young. Now that I'm a spry 53-year-old man, I've learned that it doesn't matter what people think. It's what I think of myself.
That's true.
That's where fulfillment comes in for me, is how do I think about myself every day? How am I living my authentic life? Who's the real Ben Reinberg? Who does he want to be and show up? When I came on this podcast, I'm nothing but love for you and a gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity to share my message and to connect with you and say hello and build our deep connection that we have together. That to me is gratitude. It's something I value. It's you contribute, Vinky, to a significant part of my life. You had a conference a while ago that I was a sponsor at. And I'm extremely grateful to you and your partner, because what ended up happening was the networking and the contacts I've established there have turned into incredible long-term relationships. And that was just from pulling the trigger and committing to you when we didn't have that relationship. So for me, you contribute a lot to my life, and I'm grateful for that. And when you can find the good in people, see, Vinky, when I was younger, I always found the evil in people. I was like, what is this?
That's what your focus was, right?
Well, yeah, of course. Everything was transactional. What do you want from Ben Reinberg? You need money. You want my services. You need a paycheck. I always felt that people were just transactional with me. And I took a step back and said, well, that's not a good way to look at life. That doesn't create fulfillment for me. So I started looking at it and saying, instead of asking yourself, Ben, what do they want from you as a transaction? Look at how are they contributing to you and find that truth and be grateful for it. So I started doing that and started realizing that how amazing it is that all these different people in my life that I keep crossing and having conversations with or meeting or shaking hands or giving a hug, how each one of them are impacting my life in some way. Maybe they're teaching me a lesson. Maybe they're sharing some knowledge I didn't know. Maybe they're enforcing something I need to consider. Maybe it's a resource they gave me. So there's always a reason, whether it's a positive or negative experience with another human being, there's something in that message, that communication, that interaction that will contribute to my life. And I look at things differently. When I started looking at that way, my whole world opened up and said, wow, it's not about looking at the negativity that someone brings. It's about what are they contributing? What am I learning? What can I take away? And it doesn't mean you need to be friends with everyone. It doesn't need to be means you have to do business with everyone. Pick and choose. But that love and respect factor goes a long way because it allows you to open your mind, Vinky, and learn. And it's something I'm a big proponent of. So people always ask me, like, can you get, someone will grab me off the street because they see me from social media or they listen to my podcast and they say, Ben, can you give me some advice? And a lot of that is, being present and being a good listener, and the ability to be in love and respect people and listen to people and understand their truth, no matter if they have different view. One of the things we all forget is that we all have different DNA. We are all God's gift that was put on this earth, and we are all unique in our own ways. People forget that. People think like, well, I need this person to be like me. Well, it's not going to happen. We're all different. We all breathe differently. We look at things differently. I look at the color of your shirt, and it's a beautiful Irish color green. Someone might look at it and say, hey, it's a forest green. So we look at things differently.
That's true.
We listen differently. We learn differently, whether you're a visual or an audio digital, or you want to listen to something audio to learn, or you have to see it in writing. There's different ways we learn as humans. And so if you really take a step back and you understand that we're all different, and then when someone's talking, you can listen to them and understand their truth and what they're trying to express to you, and really listen. Well, guess what happens, Vinky? Your relationships get better. You build
That's true.
And when you're doing business, because this is a business podcast, it's so much easier to do business with when you connect with people and you can have conversations. People know when you're present. One thing I do in my office at Alliance is, we have different calls. We'll have like a leadership team call like we had today, or company calls. And I could tell what irritates me is I see people texting or on social media while we're on this.
That's true. Multitasking.
Right. Instead of being present. Because when you're not present and you're focused on three other things, for example, if I was on this podcast with you and I'm looking at my phone or my Instagram, or I'm looking at texts or emails, what am I doing? I'm not building a deeper connection with you. I'm not listening to your questions. I'm not adding value. I'm not showing you love. If anything, I'm just acting out of fear, wondering, how do I keep up with things, instead of coming from a place from my heart saying, how can I add value to you and your audience? And how do we continue to build connection? And how can I continue to learn from you, Vinky? So these are all the things that I teach people and help people with, because they always ask me, what would you do? Tell yourself if you were younger. Well, it was all these things I would work on.
That's true. That's true. That's being present in the moment, when you are with somebody and giving them full attention. Because the thing is, you never know the whole picture. Even you're fully present, still you do not know the start and the end. You just know the little bit in the middle. But being fully present, you'll be able to, make a more, I would say, better decision for yourself, which is going to create your next moment. So it's really, really important. People say live in the moment. That's what exactly living in the moment is, just being present in the moment and making the right decision for you for the next moment, because that's how your destiny is going to get created, right? Moment after moment, all the decisions we are making.
Absolutely. And I always feel there's a reason why people meet. From a spiritual
I agree 100%.
The universe puts people together for a reason. And so finding out the truth, what's behind it, is so important. If you could do that and just really seek the truth in what someone's saying and why you're having this interaction with someone and how they're contributing to you, it opens the door for so many possibilities and different relationships. And people say, work smarter, not harder. I think what's really behind that is this topic. It's that being present. It's listening really well. It's being in the moment. And I always figured if you could slow down, and be a good listener and be present, everything that you do will be done well instead of rushing through things. And slowing down has a real art to it. People are like, well, I got to rush. I got to get this done. I got to go this. We're all in this digital age where everything has to move instantly, Vinky. And I think what we've lost a lot of in the society is humans and nature and connecting and picking up the phone and talking to each other instead of texting, or having a face-to-face meeting or a Zoom call, to connect on a video level if you can't be face-to-face. And I feel that there's a real lost art to the communication side between people because we rely on so much technology now to get through our days. I mean, if you had to ask your audience, I'm sure you're just as guilty like I am. We pin our phones on our hip and we're so reliant on texts coming in and the dinging going on and phone calls. Maybe they're coming in and then you throw social media on top of it. It's like, where's the interaction when we were kids? I remember when I was a kid, I'll tell you a quick story. I grew up across a park, and coming from Chicago, they would freeze the park as an ice rink, and we would go skating or we'd play different sports there or go see girls across the park. That's how you connected with people. It was
Mm-hmm.
always a personal, interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm blessed to have those interactions because it makes my life a lot easier communicating with people, just like we're doing. But when you, like my kids, and I'm worried about them, and that generation is they grew up with technology and
Mm-hmm.
their interaction is, let me send you a text, let me send you a direct message instead of picking up the phone and calling someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if someone was asking me how to separate myself and they're younger, say a millennial, I would say, learn to communicate, learn how to have a one-on-one meeting face to face, improve your ability to get on the phone or Zoom calls and have, real intimate discussions with people to get to learn them and be a good listener. And these are all the things I would express to people that are younger is give yourself some love, teach yourself, improve yourself, work on yourself. The best version of yourself is going to be the best version that's going to create success for you.
Yeah, I agree that. Oh my God, you have so much knowledge, and you have completed almost your inner journey. I would say that's what you're reflecting outwards now. So I wanted to ask you this question, having all this knowledge over the years that you have acquired, how you're using that knowledge in your commercial real estate. I guess that's helping you scale big time. Your success is like exponential at this point.
Well, I'm going to start teaching commercial real estate. It's one of the things I wanted to do, and we're working on that as we speak. And then I'm going to be speaking as well around the world about the different topics that I'm an expert in addition to commercial real estate. But what I've done is I delegate. I bring in very talented people into my company that are leading departments, and I empower them to make decisions. I don't micromanage. We have different metrics for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and I inspire people. And I'm at the point in my life where I'm a lot different person. I'm not as stressed or as high strung as when you're younger and you're just getting started. So I have a real methodological approach to the way I do things. I come from a state of love and not fear. I do mentoring and teaching of my employees and my leadership team and support. And I'm building my personal brand along with my podcast. My podcast, Minky, has taken off significantly. It's called Ben Reinberg, I Own It. And
Nice.
what's behind the podcast? It started May 31st, and why it's grown so rapidly is people want to know about how do you own your life, and it's about being responsible for every aspect of your life. So every guest that we've had on, and we've had some incredibly talented guests, own every aspect of their life, and it's not just about commercial real estate. It's about your mindset. It's about health. Most people that know me know I'm in great health. I train on a frequent basis. I eat healthy. Uh, I don't really drink much, even though I collect wine. It's very rare that I have a drink. I stopped drinking a long time ago, and it's been great. I don't take caffeine. I'm a big tea drinker. And so I look at what I put in my body. I look at what I put in my mind. I look at who I surround myself with. And at the end of the day, it makes me a better person to inspire, teach, and help people, which I enjoy doing. And so within my company Alliance, one of the things I do is we have great systems and people in place where they have their own autonomy, and I empower them, and we build a great culture. I'm big into that, and it allows people to shine. And I'm a big proponent of my employees building wealth for themselves and changing their lives. One of the things I really enjoy about work is taking a person who interviews with me and we end up hiring them. And maybe they came from nothing, or I have a lot of single mothers that work for me, and taking a particular person and giving them the knowledge and the confidence and the space and all the resources to step into the story that they want to create for themselves. And it's really neat when you see a young person start off and then 4 or 5 years down the road that they're with Alliance and they've grown, their salary has grown significantly. So they've financially grown, they've emotionally grown, they've grown as a person. Maybe they become a leader within the company. And it's really incredible and rewarding and satisfying to me when I see those type of stories. I love seeing when I have employees and they could send their kids to college they never dreamed of, and they could be first generation college folks. So those are all the things I look at, the intangibles. The money's phenomenal in our business. It gives me a lot of great opportunities to meet wonderful people. But what it does is allows me the ability to help people and serve people and empower them. And I get a real sense of gratitude and satisfaction when I help people. And that's what I enjoy doing. And what that does is it inspires my employees to say, look at the top dog, the boss is a giver.
I know.
And he cares about people. So maybe we should look at what he does to create success. So I try to lead by example. I'm not a man, social media was a big change for me because I'm not used to talking about my successes. I was from the cut from the cloth of let your action speak for its word.
Right.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
Now it's like social media, like everyone's promoting themselves and everyone's a guru out there. But I heard someone say the other day is, it's hard to be a guru if you haven't started a business and create success. And I agree with that. The gentleman that said that. It's until you're in the trenches, you start a business, you have employees and you have struggles and successes and failures and you've been doing it for a long time. I feel it's hard just to be a guru, just to come off the mat and say I'm a guru at something. I think if anyone's out there, if you're going to find yourself a mentor, a guru, find someone that's been there and done that can really teach you the in and outs. They could also shorten your learning curve.
So let me ask you this question. How do you said you're teaching people and you're sharing your knowledge with others and helping them figure out their life or create their life on their own terms. How do you teach people, or what tools or tips that you share with them to build confidence in themselves to become a successful entrepreneur? Because since we are all entrepreneurs, so I'm going to ask you that question in the entrepreneurship versus just W-2 working for somebody else.
Yeah, I would say an entrepreneur is the best way to do it is just to pull the trigger and get started. That's how you build confidence. Proof to yourself that you can do it.
You can do it.
Will build confidence naturally. That's the number one factor. But the other thing is, to any entrepreneur, they're going to have to work on themselves because not every day is perfect. You're going to go through days. Take my business. Okay, we're looking for acquisitions. You might go through 2 or 3 weeks of no's, not finding anything. You can go through a couple months, or you can have an investor. We raise money from a credit investor and family office. You could have an investor that's not happy. How are you going to deal with it? So you have to be able to balance your emotions when you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're younger, and learn how to get through challenging situations and days that maybe aren't as favorable. You got to get off the mat, Vinky, and get back up on your feet and say, I'm going to keep going. The strong entrepreneurs that last, especially as long as I've lasted, is they don't take no for an answer. They don't believe in the word can't. They don't take that lightly. They take it seriously. So if I'm having a bad day, what I do is I change my mindset. I say, all right, Ben, let's go. I'm too good not to be able to do what I want to do. Raise equity or find deals or manage an employee or whatever. And a lot of that is just through experience. But you can't get the experience if you're not willing to pull the trigger and get in the water.
Yeah, if you don't try.
You have to. And so if you're an entrepreneur out there in the ether listening to this, that just get started. Just get started. And surround yourself with great people. There are going to be people that criticize you. The worst people that criticize you is usually family and friends. Because,
I know.
and let me tell you why that happens. Okay. I figured
expectations.
this out. It's one, there's a couple sides of the coin. One, like say it's your parents, they care about you. They want to see your success. But there's also some parents are jealous. Some parents are looking at it where they're saying, well, I didn't have the guts to do what Vinky did. So I might subconsciously criticize her because I'm jealous of what she's doing. And your friends are going to be jealous too when you start off on your own, doing your own thing, because they wish they would have done it. They wish they would have had the same idea. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You don't have to be in my industry. You can be anything. You can be selling widgets. But there are people out there that, they use the word haters. And it's true. It's people are going to look to find reasons for you not to do something. So you have a choice. Are you going to listen to them or are you going to listen to your heart? I always feel that let your heart speak for your decisions. Especially when you're an entrepreneur, your mind and your heart's going to talk to you frequently. It's lonely out there when you're an entrepreneur, Vinky. You know that just as well as I do. No one's telling you run this podcast. No one's saying show up. No one's telling you to go buy that next multifamily deal. No one's telling Ben Reinberg, go find that next medical property. Go raise that extra 10 million bucks you need, whatever it is. No one's pushing me. No one's sitting in my bed in the morning. Okay. It's not like this person that grabs me and says, all right, Ben, wake up. It's time to start the day. We got to get started. We got to go make money and impact lives and serve others. No one says that. No one grabs you. However, that's your internal mechanism. That's what you
accountable.
You have to find that burning desire. Now, when I was younger, I had a chip on my shoulder. That was my motivation. I still have a little bit of that chip. Okay. However, my motivation now is impacting and serving and helping people, which is so ironic because guess what? When I do that, it attracts a lot of money.
A lot more people.
So it's an interesting concept. So
it is.
Everyone out there can learn from my experiences and understand. But when you can listen to your heart, you'll make a lot of great decisions in life.
That's true. And I'm going to go back to when you said people are jealous of you. I learned this very early on. One wise person told me when I said, oh, a lot of people are jealous of me. I'm not sure why. I was very young. It was like early 20s or teens. And then this person told me, you know what? When people hate you or they're jealous of you, it means you're doing something right. So don't look back. Keep on doing what you're doing. And I followed that advice all my life. Believe me or not.
Great. It's great advice. Let me add to some of that. Elon Musk said it best. Okay. And he's experienced it. And I have too. I think it's a wonderful saying. He says, they will laugh and jeer at you. And then eventually they will applaud.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. People will criticize you. They'll put you down. And then all of a sudden you start creating success and money and impacting the world like Elon has tremendously. And guess what? People are applauding him. Instead of taking the approach saying, look at what Elon has done to contribute to our society. If you would take that mindset and say, how grateful, I drive a Tesla. I have a couple of them. Okay. And I love his cars. Love it. I didn't understand it at first. My kids did, and then I did. I adore what he's done. I really am really a fan of his. And I realize how much he's contributed to our world in different ways. So how are we not grateful for the guy instead of putting him down? That's just an example of what people will do to you. People will criticize you out of jealousy, out of fear, instead of love. And if you take the approach of, I'm going to live in love, I'm not going to live in fear. And I'm going to take the approach that if someone criticizes me or puts me down, it's okay. Because I'm in a state of love. And you know what? Let me listen to them and see if there's any truth to what they're saying. Let me see if I can find any contribution to my life. And by the way, that person that does it, listen to them, be respectful, but you don't have to have them in your life. You can choose who you want in your life. That's the beautiful thing. So
That's
just
true.
because someone doesn't vibe with you or connect or is a good fit, use them as a resource. Figure out what they're contributing to you and learn from them and why they're saying it instead of cutting them off at the knees. And
That's
then
true.
take the approach of what's the contribution to your life from this interaction. That will that one concept will change your world, and it won't. And here's the beautiful thing that comes out of it: you won't get triggered when you're in a heated moment.
That's true.
Or that's part of managing your emotions.
That's true. And I 100% agree on that. Like you were saying earlier, we are out of time, but I'm going to say this that, like you were saying, there's no consequences in life. You meet people for a reason because everybody shows up in your life at the right time when you need that person because you need to learn something. As soon as you learn whatever you're supposed to learn, that person's going to disappear. Somebody else is going to show up. So you have to show your gratitude for every moment and have to learn from each opportunity in your life. Ben, I'm going to have you back because we didn't get to finish everything in this episode. We just went on the mindset only, but I wanted to talk about having your mindset, all the knowledge that you have acquired, how you're applying that into your real estate journey. So I'm going to have another episode with you on that. We'll do a follow-up call on that. But for now, if you can share one golden nugget with my audience.
Oh God, that's how many hours do we have? But
you just one small one. I know you did so many. Just one small one.
If you're in real estate or any industry, I'm in commercial real estate. Minky's in real estate as well. Don't give up. Be persistent. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to fail. Embrace your failures. Learn from them. Anytime someone says no to you, understand why and learn from it. Life is about learning. Continue to learn. Open your mind, open your filter, and don't stop learning. Don't stop listening because people will teach you out there naturally and find out what they're saying and why. And you'll see your progression, your learning curve will shorten and success will be right around the corner. So just keep pushing forward. That's the best advice I can give something. When you fall down, just get back up and keep moving forward. And by the way, no one cares about you except for you.
That's true.
That's just the bottom line. Like when you're worried about what that person's going to think, that other person's so worried about themselves and all their internal BS going on within them, they're not thinking about you. So get rid of those thoughts when you're worried about what other people are thinking or am I looking nice? Am I wearing right? Is my hair right? No one cares. No one cares. I found out a long time ago. No one gives a shit about Ben Reimer. and the people that really care about you, you surround yourself with, and you take good care of them. But at the end of the day, don't worry about what other people think, and just keep pushing forward. And that's why I would tell anyone out there if they were asking me for my 2 cents.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Just keep learning. Life is all about learning. And the day you stop learning, you're dead because that's a dead end. You're not learning, you're not growing. Growth dies right there. So this brings us to our rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You have to answer in one word or one sentence only. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The first question is, what is the one most important thing that you have learned in your life? And how did it change your life after learning it?
To love myself and work on my inner game. And once I did that, I was able to show up as a better version of myself to others.
Awesome. I love that. What is one best book that you have read and you'll recommend to my audience beside Rich Dad Poor Dad? Everybody says that.
I enjoy Pitch Anyway by Oren Klaff. I think that's a really good book. There's other books out there that I'd like to read, there's so many good books I've read over the years, but that's a really good book that resonates with me about raising equity. I really like that book. I think Oren is brilliant. So I will go with that book.
Awesome. So in one word, what does life mean to you?
Freedom.
Right.
Freedom to be who I want to be in life. Freedom to make choices.
Great. What is your biggest passion?
My biggest passion is, I have a lot of passions, but I really enjoy learning about health and how how to expand my health and push the boundaries. And I'm really into the biomed stuff that have come out and really passionate about that. I have a lot of passion. I love helping people and teaching people. I love seeing people create success in my business. And I'm a big fan of the underdog because that's who I was. And so that's something I'm passionate about as well.
Awesome. If you can turn back in time and talk to your younger self, what would that be and why?
Well, if I was going to go back to when I was a teenager, I would figure out how to work on myself if I knew what that meant back then. And so I would say to a younger Ben Reinberg, work on yourself, become the best version of yourself, and love yourself, and everything else will take care of itself as you grow older.
That's a good advice. I mean, I think wisdom comes with age.
Too bad. You got it. See this gray hair I got going that I'm rocking? It's priceless.
It's a second inning. That's what I tell my kids all the time. So this is a second inning. So I got to make it.
I have a saying, you spend the first third of your career on your back, then on your feet, then on your stomach. I'm on my stomach. And a lot of that is experience and being able to do things in a different viewpoint. And so, but yeah, I mean, if people want to learn more about me and how I can help them, they can go to my company website, which is alliancecgc.com. That's Alliance Charlie George Charlie.com. Also, Vinky, I have a personal brand website called benreinberg.com. And people can follow me on any social media platform, YouTube, you name it. And then obviously my podcast is Ben Reinberg I Own It. And we have a lot of celebrities and ultra high net worth individuals that come on the show on a frequent basis. And so if people want to follow me or just learn or get some great content about business, life, relationships, health, wealth, commercial real estate, you name it, we touch them all. And it's all about adding value and serving people and helping people. So something I enjoy to do. So get back to your question. I really enjoy meeting a lot of new people and hearing their stories.
Great. That was my question. How can people reach out to you? So you answered that already. Thanks for being on the show with me today. And definitely I wanted to have another show with you where we talk about applying all this knowledge that we acquired into our real estate journeys.
Perfect. Thanks, Minky, for having me. I appreciate it.